What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we go ahead and get started, I gotta go ahead and say thank God for another day and another opportunity. Now, as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, today I got a very special build in store for y'all. The best Catfish slasher build in NBA 2K24 on next gen. Now this build is going to be reminding me of J.R. Smith, and we're going to be making it out of the shooting guard position. And when it comes to our attributes on today's build, we'll be able to get a 100 plus when it comes to our driving dunk, ball handle, perimeter defense, as well as our stamina. Now we're going to be able to get every single elite contact dunk with this build, as well as most of the pro upgraded dribble packages. Now when it comes to our badges, we'll be able to get 6 Hall of Fame, also 10 gold, 28 silver with 12 bronze. Now I definitely have a good build in store for y'all, so before we get any further into this video, if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the rich family, and last but definitely not least, comment down TG for Thank God King Jesus and where you're tuning in from, and I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with a response. Now with this build, do keep in mind, you can go ahead and create it however you feel like is based to your own playstyle and liking. And today I definitely promise that this is going to be a build that you can take into any game mode and find success with. So to get started, let's go ahead and put it under the shooting guard position. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and put this build at the height of 6'8". Moving on to our weight, put this up to 227 with a wingspan of 7'6". Now if you want to make any adjustments from this area, you can do so like I mentioned earlier, but look, you're going to take a minor hit in some areas, so I definitely recommend following along each and every single step of the way. So when it comes to our physicals, the first area that I'm going to get into is going to be the speed. Put this up to an 81. Now as for when it comes to our acceleration, I found this best with a 73. Now moving on to the strength, I'm going to go with an 84. And then as for when it comes to our vertical, I'm going to go ahead and put this up to an 85. Now this is definitely essential to get all of the contact dunks. And then as for when it comes to our stamina, I decided to go ahead and put this up to a 98. Now pretty much maxed out, and do take into consideration, we'll be able to get a +4 from our Gatorade facility workouts. Now to get started with the finishing, go ahead and put your driving dunk up to a 96. As for the close shot, put it up to a 57. 77 when it comes to our driving layup with a 41 standing dunk. Now I'll definitely be sure to go back into the badges once we complete this build, but just to give you a little bit of an idea of what we are working with. Now I definitely see the offensive end one of these strong suits for today's build, but the defense can definitely hold its own as well. So as for when it comes to the interior, go ahead and put this up to a 74 or a 75. Now look, if you want to go ahead and put more into this area, that is one consideration that I would mention to y'all, especially if you're looking to take away from the playmaking or even the shooting. Now as far as when it comes to our perimeter defense, I'm going to go with an 87. Moving on to our steal, leave this as is. And then for the block, I'm going to go ahead and put this up to a 79. Now here's what we're going to be looking like for this build on this side of the floor. Now as far as for when it comes to the playmaking, go ahead and put your pass accuracy all the way up to a 77. Moving on to our ball handle, I like this best at an 85. And especially if you want to make a build exactly like J.R. Smith, you definitely want to be versatile on both the offensive and defensive end. Now for our speed with ball, I'm going to put this up to a 75. And right there, as you can see, we pretty much have most of the playmaking badges that are really needed to be effective, especially if you know how to dribble. Now when it comes to our shooting, go ahead and put the mid-range shot up to a 61. As for the three-pointer, I'm going to go ahead and put this to a 76. And then to wrap everything up for the free throw, go ahead and put this to a 71. Now look, we have one extra tick that we can put pretty much into any area of your choosing. What I really do believe is going to be best just depends on your playstyle. Now for the badges, the ones that catch my eye are going to be Fearless Finisher. We're also able to get other ones like Slithery and Hall of Fame, Aerial Wizard, and Bunny. We're even able to get Scooper on Gold, Float Game, Giant Slayer with Whistle, 2-Step, and Spin Cycle. Really, for this build, I think you have everything needed to be effective, especially for being one of the main and best slasher builds. I think this should really be a template. Now look, as far as for this badge posterizer, we're going to be able to get it on the gold tier, same thing for Precision Dunker. Now for the shooting, you have all of these badges: Silver Catch and Shoot, Deadeye, Agent 3. We're also able to get Green Machine with Space Creator. Also from there, we get Guard Up with Open Looks on Silver, and also free points. Now for the playmaking, the badges that I like most are going to be Break Starter. We also are able to get Silver Unpluckable. Gold Ankle Breaker, I'm telling y'all, this is going to make a huge difference even if you get it on the Hall of Fame tier. Now we're also able to get Blow By, Hyperdrive, Speed Booster, and Triple Strike. Now if you wanted to, just keep in mind the defensive area really is adjustable. You may even get a different build name. But one area that I'm really happy about is going to be this interior defense. We get Bronze Anchor, Gold Workhorse, and Post Lockdown. Also for the perimeter, we're pretty balanced with Silver Clamps, Ankle Braces Challenger with Fast Feet, Workhorse with Off Ball Pass. Now as far as for the block, we get Chase Down Artist on the Silver tier, Bronze Anchor with Pogo Stick. Now the physicals, I think this is probably my favorite thing about this build. Not only are you going to be able to guard any position 1 through 5, but with these physicals, I don't think we're able to get bullied by any build as well. Now I really want to know down below, what is one thing that you would change about this build to make it even better? But as far as for my own playstyle, I really do believe that this is going to be the best version of the build that you can make. Now from here, one thing that we all need to take into consideration: your takeover boost, the additional boost that you get from buying, as well as gear, and on top of that we have the affiliation boost. That's at least a plus 15 to 20 just to get your mind running with the full potential of this build at maxed out overall. Now let's go ahead and move forward to make sure that everybody made this build correctly, and if you did so, we should be able to get these 3 comparisons. J.R. Smith be number 1, and as y'all can see, together we have created the best slasher build in NBA 2K24 on next gen. Now with this build, not only are you going to be able to be dominant on the offensive end, but with our defensive stats maxed out with boost, I'm telling y'all, the sky is the limit for this build. Now take into consideration, we get all of the elite contact dunks. I think this is going to be a build that anybody can pick up and find success with. So look, before we get out of here, if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the rich family, and last but definitely not least, comment down TG for Thank God King Jesus and where you're tuning in from, and I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with a response. And with all that being said though, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.